want to read you a quick comment that I just recently got, actually 34 minutes ago, and I just happened to be home and ready to record something. So I thought this would be a really good response for those that are in the insurance industry and debating, should I go independent? Should I go exclusive? Or should I even enter this industry when everything's going crazy right now? And insurance tends to be the topic of hate, right? As far as everything goes. This is going up, this price is going up, this is happening, this is happening. To read the exact question, hey Mark, great video, you're extremely on top of the numbers, thank you. As a newly licensed agent, how hard is it to start out independent? Is it possible or a recipe for disaster? So there is kind of a disaster piece to it, but there's also a really very successful option. And there's technically an AI piece that's going to fall into place. And that's the end of the video, which you can skip my thought of it. Yes, going independent, in my opinion, is the best way to enter in the insurance industry. If you go exclusive to a farmer's agency, or if you go exclusive to a State Farm, or you go exclusive to a whatever, an Allstate, the problem that you're going to see is these companies are slowly transitioning into being independent. I have a prediction that you've seen Liberty Mutual. They have a new company called Comparion. Comparion is their version of selling independently. And in my opinion, I think Liberty Mutual or Safeco, one of those two, is probably going to disappear. They're going to either mash the brands together and allow their agents to sell outside of the network, which they kind of already are doing, or they're going to go completely independent, which is what Nationwide did. So Nationwide did it. Allstate half does it. They do it in states that they're not as competitive right now, just to keep their foundation of their agents up. Liberty Mutual may be doing it. Progressive 100% did it, where they offered independent. Now they also offer direct. So there's like all of these pieces, and I think a lot of them are going to go direct, which might actually steal their own clients back, and that's kind of a smart way to do it. As far as the agent, competitive is super important, and that's where the independent agents fall into place. When you come to our office and you shop with us, we have 3, 4, 5, technically we have 20 some odd companies, but there's really only like 3 or 4 that are competitive. And it's depending on the fit that the person is for each company is where we put them. So in that aspect, if it's strictly price and strictly competitiveness, I can win. Probably the problem that you run into is if you don't learn how to create value, you're never going to keep the client in the first place. If you don't follow up on renewals, if you don't send them cards when you have them join, if they send you a referral, you send them a gift card. If you don't do all of the pieces and reinvest back into it, there's a lot more than just that, then you'll be chasing your wheels. You'll get to probably $1 million book, which might be what you want, $80,000 to $100,000. You have to reinvest probably $20,000 back into the company to keep it going. And so you're 60 to 80K of a take home before taxes, and then you'll start spinning those wheels. So you can get there. Everyone thinks they're going to be super successful until they get to that level, and then they start falling backwards a little bit. You'll have those bad weeks where you lose $20,000, $50,000 worth of business, and it's just hurt you. Can you bounce back from that? 100%. And yes, that is the piece. So that's kind of honestly where I see as far as, can you go independent? Should you go independent? Now there is a benefit to not going independent, because exclusive agencies, there wouldn't be people joining them if there wasn't a reason for this. The reason that the exclusive insurance agencies are is because they pay more. So because you have to brand build, and actually you're going to get more training, not necessarily training, but more experience, because you have to sell on value. If you don't sell that Allstate brand, if you don't sell that State Farm brand, if you don't sell that Liberty kind of, now you can go to Comparion, but pretend that's all you had, right? You get a lower commission. If you don't sell those pieces of it, those solid staples, then you don't get the sale at all. You can cut the coverages down and try to get it cheaper, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be competitive if they come to an agency like an independent agency. Because of that, you don't have to sell nearly as much. So when you're selling $20,000 in premium a month, that's equivalent to me selling $30,000 or $35,000 per month, because most likely that farmer's agency or that State Farm agency, not putting words in their mouth, but more often than not, they pay half of your marketing. They pay for some of your building to be in. They pay for some of your expenses. They do a lot heavier commissions and give you more up front. And a lot of that weight is pulled off your shoulders if you're not selling as much as a normal agency. The reason being is because they get those branding, and because they're so heavy on the branding, is the typical customer will likely stay longer. And if they teach you and almost force you because you're under their wing, you have to do the way they want it to within reason. Because they're having you sell life insurance and they're forcing you to sell auto to collect your $10,000 bonus, and they're forcing you to sell the home with an umbrella this year, and all of the pieces that they kind of make you do, that's where you hear everyone talk negative about them online, and I kind of am one of them too. But they do that because they're going to keep that customer longer. You're going to get paid longer, but they're almost forcing you to do a good business. Now that I'm an owner, I want to do all of that, right? There's days I'm lazy and I don't do those. And so in that world, you get reprimanded. I would do more if I was under a wing like that. The other piece to that, to where it can be an epic failure, is if you go independent and you aren't competitive in a niche or in a network. So network, I mean an area. So if you're in a zip code or a whole range of areas and you don't have a competitive product, you can't get licensed with some companies because not everybody's taking in business. There's a company called Westfield here in Michigan. I'd love to be part of them. I actually liked them a lot. I sold a crap ton of them back in the day. Yes, the rates have gone up and it's been probably 4 years since I've seen them, so maybe not, but I would like to join them. They're on a freeze. I can't join them. They just don't want new companies right now. Same thing with some of the companies like auto owners. They're very stringent on who they take in right now because of the loss ratios being so high. They're a little bit tighter. So getting some of your premium counts or some of those companies that you want to be part of, you may not want to be part of, or you may not be able to be a part of. Where that leads you is you probably have Progressive, which is almost always competitive. They're very competitive in a lot of situations. You've got your Nationwides, you've got some of your Allstates depending on your area. You've got a little bit of the Safeco because they are a little bit tighter as far as what they want right now. You've got a lot of companies and carriers that will allow you to write business. Here's what I would do. I would do some research. Find out what's the top 10 competitive. What's the top 50 competitive in my area? If you are within a good range, let's just say I can sell somebody that's more than $100, mainly because I'm focusing on value. You're missing this, this, that, and this. My policy is a better policy. If that's the case, and you have multiple carriers that you think you can or will be appointed with, then you're good. Like, that's the route I would lean towards. If you're in an area that is super competitive with a major company and they're not losing their shirts, if their loss ratio isn't crazy, you can even go to the government website and look up what their filings are. Have they filed for a rate increase? If they haven't, I would talk to the carrier before joining them and say, what's the plans for the state? I would look at the other states that they've increased. I see Progressive slowly going up. I get emails from all the other states. So I've seen every week, this state raised, this state raised. Luckily, ours hasn't. And I'm just waiting for the day that it pops up and says, guess what, Michigan? Your price is now higher. Once again, not going to kill me because we sold off a value, but it does hurt a little bit because I can't always win on value. I try to, but it's not always the best route that you can take. People will just love the value along with the price, but they really cared about the price, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not going crazy and too fast, but I just want to make this video as quick and easy as possible for you to understand that you got to weigh a lot of stuff, right? You got to figure out what's the best route for you to take. The scary part, and the reason I will probably never go into the exclusive insurance agency, is because I don't want someone having control over my business. I don't want them mainly having control of if I write business or if I'm profitable. Yes, I get it. I can't write business with companies that say I don't, but I have multiple companies. So this company A does not like the business. That doesn't mean company B or C or D is another option. So I have ways to pivot when I don't have things where I feel like it's a good risk, but the company or carrier doesn't. So should you go independent? I think yes. Now the disaster piece. The AI, which I believe will take over, and not necessarily take over as far as it will sell all of our insurance, maybe in 30, 40, 50 years. I think the AI system where chats and the new Bard from Google and all of these filters, there's a company called Go High Level that we use, that we're starting to build a CRM around, and they're integrating all of these things. I will hopefully eventually have a marketing tool that no agent ever talks to or works with the client until they're ready to buy. Now that's my hard stop. What I think AI and all of those pieces will become is that there won't be a hard stop to where you insert agent A, insert agent B, They just let you keep going. You look at companies like Get Jerry. They're doing it. They're using easy links and a different software and connecting them. Oddly enough, I think they're using my videos to train as well. So sorry for you guys. I created your competitor. And you look at Lemonade. They'll let you buy and do claims, and there's no sales guys. So there are options that have been available, but now that the AI is getting smarter, or they've built the algorithm to become or feel like it's smarter, the conversation's a lot easier for me to ask. If I can go to a system and say, hey, what do you recommend for this? Why do you think this is good? Now we're going to get into is who programmed the AI and who's legally responsible. So that's why a lot of companies might not enter our space. But even if they do, if all of that connects and everything creates that, I think if we're ahead of it and we're the companies that can be built around that, and we can load programs and make it simple and cost effective, then the thing that we've got to think of is, how soon would that be? If it's the 5-year plan that they say AI will learn from itself, and in an hour it will do what we have taken 50 years, then we're all done. We're all screwed. That's like, it literally will just do every job we have. That's electronic, which is like, what, 70% of our jobs? We'll go back to farmers, right? We were all farmers at one point until they built tractors. And then that kind of eliminated some of the positions, and we needed mechanics, and you get it. In those scenarios, I think it's going to become more the person that can operate it and ask it the questions and tweak it and verify it and make sure that it's the fit for your agency. I think that's going to be powerful. But I do think we are going to lose a little bit of that in any industry where the Google does have an insurance system that they've been working on. And they may take some ownership from that from us. Not going to kill us, because most people want to talk. If you look at the average, there's about 26 to 30% of people that have even done a quote this year. So even after the pandemic and all of the rate changes, and after that, 60 to 70% of all of the people out there aren't even shopping. And the ones that are, if you do the research, most of them won't do it on the digital platforms. Getting to the point, even if you entered the insurance industry today and you were 25 and you worked in this industry for 40 years, I still believe from the business from today in the next 5 to 8 years that you do in this industry, whether you go independent or go exclusive, you will have capitalized on enough business that any type of AI won't be available or adopted to the point where you can't retire or be comfortable or have a good life in this industry. Now, in 10 to 20 years, we'll reevaluate. 5 years from now, we'll reevaluate. You'll see where I'm at. If I failed by now and the AI took me over, I'm actually plugging into a chip now. I hope this answers your question. A little bit long-winded. If you have other ones, let them know below. I like making the videos. I like having the conversations. Any other agents that are curious about some of the agency stuff, the next piece, if you're looking to start an agency, I'll put a video here where you can watch the scratch agency to start up. Otherwise, if you're just looking for equipment, that's probably the cheapest route you can go. A whole setup for less than $1,000. I'm Mark W. Flockhart. See you soon.